What is going on, everybody? How we doing? Welcome back to another edition of the In the Round podcast. My name is Matt Burrill, and we are on camera now. You can find our episodes on YouTube. We have got Mr. Matt McElwain recording these episodes, and today for our first video episode, really cool guest, we have got Miss Meg Patrick, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. She really opens up with us and tells us about her thoughts on some different things, talks about the music, what she's got coming up, and yeah, all kinds of cool shit. So y'all stick around for that conversation. Before we get into that, I got to tell y'all about our sponsors. First and foremost, our friends at Whale Tail Media, our partners in this. Wales, Beezy, Gracie, the whole crew, our content specialists. We love them dearly. Make sure you check them out, whaletailmedia.com. Second, we have got our friends at Saxman Studios, Grady Saxman and the boys over there. Great supporters in the scene. If you're looking to get something recorded here in Nashville, Tennessee, hit those boys up. They are very good at what they do. They work hard, and they will have your back as an artist here in Nashville, Tennessee. And last but certainly not least, our friends in the green world. That's right. We're talking about Andrew and Matt and the team at Trailside CBD Emporium, Trailside Wellness Emporium. They are the shit. They've been behind us for a long time now, and they specialize in anything CBD, anything hemp, and of course that tasty, legal Delta 8 THC. And we got a promo code with them. You use promo code ITR at checkout. You save 20% on your order. Anything you can smoke, vape, eat. They even got shit for your dogs. Go check them out. TrailsideCBD.com. Use the promo code ITR at checkout, and you save yourself 20% off. Now, without further ado, we're going to get into the episode. Y'all get ready for this one. We have Meg Patrick on the In the Round podcast. A little clap. Well, how the hell are you doing today, Miss Meg Patrick?
Well, I got to write a song today, so yeah, that's pretty dope. I like doing that.
Nice, that's good. You got to experience some fun Nashville traffic that we all get to.
Oh yeah, that was definitely my favorite part of the day.
You got stuck behind the damn train?
Yeah, I was like, well, after I got off the interstate, I was like, okay, I'm so close, and then I waited forever to turn onto this street, and like nobody was letting anybody in, and then finally, I was like, all right, this next time it's going to happen. And then I see that there's a train. I was like, of course there is. So
it goes like that. How long have you been living here in Nashville?
It's been almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years? Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had plenty of taste of Nashville traffic and all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I've never lived super far out of town, so I don't have to experience it on a daily basis. Just, for special occasions like coming to see you guys,
Hey, there you go. You're coming over here to the east side.
Yep.
But yeah, so growing up in Canada. So you're from Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot in that scene and done a lot here now in Nashville. And so what was that transition kind of like coming down to the States? And
I mean, it was kind of something that was always in the back of my mind. It was kind of always sort of the end goal was to end up here. And I thought about moving here actually sooner than I did, but then I ended up getting an offer for a record deal in Canada, and it was a really good deal. I loved the team there, and so it kind of made sense to put in a couple years and, build an audience and a career in Canada. And then and I, at that point, I didn't really have like a game plan yet. I just knew that that was going to be my focus for at least the next couple years. And I mean, honestly, things happened and took off pretty fast for me, which was great. Cause I mean, it was fast in that sense, but I also had been waiting for that moment since, the rest of my life, you know, I'd been playing in bands. I had several bands growing up, starting from when I was like 13. And I studied music in college and had a couple different bands during those times. My last band before I went solo was a bluegrass band. And so that was like really my first taste of touring. We made a couple records ourselves just independently. And then, when we went our separate ways, that was when I started doing the solo thing. So anyway, that after a couple years, I got to a point where if I wasn't touring, I was in Nashville writing anyway. And so I was like hardly home, and there were just not a lot of reasons to be there anymore. And I also felt like the more time I spent in Nashville, when I would come home, it just didn't really feel like it's where I needed to be anymore. I felt, I felt really kind of uninspired, and I wasn't as motivated when I was at home because I wasn't around other musicians and other people doing what I was doing. So it was like easy to fall back into like, what my friends back home were doing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I wasn't focused the way I wanted to be. So I was actually on tour. My first big tour that I did was with Tom Cochrane in Canada. Yeah, kind of a random tour, but it was, I took it because, one, I just wanted to play regardless, but I also feel like it was a really good exercise for me as an entertainer because, it wasn't really my demographic or my genre, and so I had to walk out on stage every night and learn how to like read the crowd and how to win them over, which, was not really my normal audience.
Absolutely.
So I was out on that tour, and had been in a relationship, and we had just broken up, and I was like trying to figure out like where am I going to live when I get back from this tour. And then I was like, wait a minute, like why am I even staying in Canada? Like there's nothing left there for me anymore. And so I came back, and within probably 36 hours I'd packed up my truck in the U-Haul and drove down to Nashville.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it happened quick when I made the decision.
Yeah, and you found like a group of friends, like I know Farron and yourself and Lainey and Ashlyn and Jenna and Casey. They coined the term the bad bitches of Nashville.
They are.
Y'all do like the last, because I've been here. It'll be 3 years at the end of this month, and it's like so from like 2018 on, even before that, y'all were making a lot of noise here in town. But around that time, like I remember going to Whiskey Jam and just kind of seeing everybody blowing up at that point. So that had to be cool to come into town. Like when did you first get in touch? When did you become friends with all those powerful ladies?
So this is the crazy thing, and it was like it really felt like a God thing when I moved here. Like obviously, I felt good about the move, but it was still scary. Like it was a huge change, and I didn't really know a lot of people here. Other than like some people that I'd written with. And so literally the first night, like I had driven from Canada that morning with Oliver, my guitar player, 14-hour drive. We get in and I was like, dude, let's just leave all this stuff. Let's go get a beer somewhere. Been a long day. And so I don't remember how we ended up at, I think it was Basement East. And so we're waiting outside to go in, and I hear this voice behind me. So Casey and I had started following each other on social media before I ever moved. We'd never met. We didn't know each other. It was just kind of like, you seem cool. Like, I'm going to follow you. I like your music. We were both into hunting and, all that stuff. So I'm standing there and I hear, Meghan Patrick? And I'm like, who knows me here? Like, she's like, hey, it's me, Casey Tyndall. and she like runs up and she's like, what are you doing here? I thought she lived in Canada. And I was like, well, I actually like literally just moved here today. And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, well, you need to meet my roommate Lainey, and you need to come out to the house. Like, there's no real country ass girls in this town. And like, you're like a real country ass bitch. Like, you out there hunting and shit. Like, she's going off. And I was just like, okay, like, great. Yeah. Like, I would love that. And it's like with girls, like girls don't really do that. They don't really like just come up and like be nice to you sometimes and like be like, hey, let's be friends. Like, unless sometimes there's like some kind of ulterior motive or whatever, especially within the industry, because sometimes it can feel very kind of competitive. And part of that, and this is going off on a tangent a little bit, but
hey, you're good. You say whatever you want.
Meg I'll Patrick. Do that. You can rein me in. I get a little chatty, but like part of that whole atmosphere comes from the fact that the way the industry has been for women in country, and it's definitely getting better now. Yeah. But there was a period of time where we were all talking about it, the lack of women on
Tomato Gate, baby.
Yeah, Tomato Gate.
It was a real thing.
It was a real thing. And so, I think it really did breed this energy amongst women in the industry that like we had to be competitive with each other because there was only room for one of us. And like there kind of was at the time, And so I was just so grateful to meet these girls like immediately when I moved there. And like I said, it was a God thing. It was like God was like telling me, this is where you're supposed to be. These are the people you're supposed to meet. And they've become, they're not even, I don't even call them friends. I mean, they're my family and they're my biggest inspirations, and they're so talented. They work so hard. We all kind of have our own thing that we do, and we genuinely support each other and lift each other up. We're not competitive. We don't get jealous and weird about things, because we all believe that when one of us succeeds, we all do. And it just,
absolutely,
it just opens more doors for all of us. And, you know, I talked to Mitchell about this, and you know, he kind of compares us to like his sort of guy group. You know, he came up with Devin Dawson and Hardy and Jordan Schmidt and like all these guys that all write and have now become really successful artists and writers and producers and stuff. And he's like, when I look at y'all and I think of you as being that, you know. And so that's a compliment to me. So I'm like, shit, if we can do half of what what y'all have done, then we'll be killing it. So
yeah, because there really is. I mean, and you're starting to see it with radio stuff. You're starting to see it with tour slots, and it's like you guys aren't just singing like stereotypical songs. Like y'all write the real shit. Y'all are all so uniquely yourselves, and like when you go and watch a Meg Patrick show, you're gonna come out there with that harmonica. You're gonna rock that freaking crowd. Same thing with Lainey. Same thing. No, that's the thing. And Casey too, and Ashlyn. The whole crew is so entertaining, and it's refreshing, and it's been cool to watch that over the last few years, especially because I feel like, for some reason, the last few years, it's really like picked up.
Oh yeah, general. I mean, well, and now, you know, with Lainey getting her first number one, you know, like that was like such a win, like to all of us. Like we've all been like cheering for her, and you know, I can't tell you how many stories I've posted of her playing that song on rounds, being like, if this doesn't go number one, like y'all are all wrong, like y'all are crazy, you know. And we all felt that way. And so, you know, it's just like, it's seeing, like for Mitchell, like for them, it was Devin was that first one to get that number one of that group. Or, well, I guess it went to 2, but whatever. It's a number one. It's a smash, whatever it is, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's not one of those, like all of those girls are so much more than just a pretty face. They're all fantastic writers. They're great entertainers. They're good human beings. Their work ethic is unmatched. I mean, those girls work their asses off. We all do. And so they're easy to root for.
And incredible hangs.
And incredible hangs,
That's the other thing, too, is like just going after a whiskey jam over to Losers or Red Door.
Yeah.
Some of the best times you could have in Nashville is with you and your friends.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do without them, truly. I mean, this is such a hard industry, and it kicks your ass so hard sometimes. And, you know, there's always peaks and valleys, and sometimes, you know, there's going to be lots of times in our group where some of us are on a high and some of us are on a low. Some of us are going through some shit. You know, we lose a deal or we're changing management or whatever it is, or a single, you know, doesn't work or whatever. Like, and we all just are there for each other for the highs and the lows. And, you know, that's just so, I've never really had that, actually, to be honest, with like other girls. You know, I grew up, I was always kind of a tomboy, and I played a lot of sports and like was into outdoor stuff, hunting and fishing and all that. And so I naturally just ended up hanging around more guys. And don't get me wrong, I had girlfriends that are awesome people, but like they're not in music. So there's a whole aspect of my life that like they couldn't possibly understand, because nobody can understand it unless you're in it. You know?
Absolutely. And that's something I even see going back to New York. Granted, I'm on kind of this side where I'm doing the personality thing where I go out touring with a crew, but it's like there's such a connection. Like you build such a bond with people around music and around this lifestyle, because it is a hectic lifestyle. I mean, I remember we were in North Carolina together recently. You had flown in from Florida, and then it's like, how many jobs do you do that where you go down to Florida, you play a festival, then you fly up and you're at some random ass Harley Davidson, and the next day and you're getting a tattoo before the show and like all that, like it's like, what other job do you get to do that? It's like the coolest job in the world, but so many people don't get it. You know, they don't quite understand, especially when you're starting out. What was starting out like? Like, were you in Canada? They have like a 4-hour cover circuit thing like they have down here. Like, what's starting out on the Canadian circuit like?
So I mean, when I got started, you know, obviously the first thing was going and writing and getting the songs together to put out a record. My first single I actually wrote with Chad Kroeger of Nickelback.
Shit.
Yeah. Me and him, my manager at the time, had a relationship with him and started talking to him. She's like, I'm working with this new girl. Like, she, you know, I think she's really great. Like, would you like write with her? And so I went out to LA and we sat down and we wrote my first single. And then, well, at the time it was just a song, and he did the demo for it. Excuse me.
Hey, you're good.
Sorry, I'm drinking beer. And the demo just sounded really great. And, you know, after that, he was like, well, you know, I was like, would you want to produce it? And so he did. And then at that time it was just a single, but he said, you know, send me stuff, like send me what you're working on. Like, I want to hear what you're doing. And I sent him a song that was a duet that I'd written. and he flipped over the song. He's like, oh my gosh, I love this. He's like, let me produce some more sides on your record. I was like, I mean, it's not let you. I'm like, I don't know if we can afford you, but like, yeah, obviously that would be amazing. And then he had asked me, he's like, so, you know, who would you want to sing this duet with you? And I was like, well, like realistically, as a new unknown artist, or like if I could have anyone. And he said, if you could have anyone. And I was like, honestly, I feel like Joe Nichols would be perfect for it. It was a very kind of traditional country kind of thing, and I just like could picture his voice on it. He goes, oh, I know Joe. Yeah, I'll ask him. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, there's no way he's gonna do it, you know. And then a couple weeks later, he texts me. He's like, Joe's in. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, he loved the song. He's in. And so we cut that and a few other songs, and yeah, I mean that the duet was my first top 10 song in Canada. So
no shit.
Yeah, and so you know we did same kind of thing, radio tour, although it is not quite as intense as here because there's just not as many stations.
Yeah.
It's just a smaller market. But we did that, and then yeah, the first the first festival, the first shows or first tour I did some dates with Kip Moore, which was awesome. And then the Tom Cochran thing, and then getting on all the festival circuit, that kind of stuff.
That festival circuit can be exhausting.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about festivals in Canada too is like you really got to like make hay while the sun shines, because there's a much smaller window of opportunity to like play outside in Canada because it gets so cold. You know, so it's like that summer is just like nuts because you're trying to play as many of them as you can, because that's where the best money is made too for an artist. And also like a lot of it is like on opposite sides of the country. Like, you know, and you're going, I can't tell you how many times I've played, you know, Cavendish out in PEI, which is like almost as far east as you can go, and then flying to, you know, Calgary to play the Stampede the next day, which is on the complete opposite side of the country. So you're not getting a lot of sleep, that's for sure.
Yeah, see, I remember actually, it was, and for me, it's like a signature, like badass Meg Patrick moment. It was, I believe, was it at a festival? I believe in Canada. There was some asshole in the front, and I remember watching that clip and being like, "You go, Meg!" Like that's quintessential, like.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a festival in Canada, and it was like, so there were a couple things that happened too before that festival that I think made it that I like kind of snapped the way I did. But no,
good for you for snapping, because that's not right for somebody to be saying shit like that.
Well, and here's the thing is like, that's not the first time. I mean, shit, it's not even the 10th time some idiot said something like that to me. And most of the time I would like, you know, I would crack a joke or, you know, talk a little shit, whatever, move on.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was a couple things that had already happened. You know, we already had a late slot for a headliner, which is like, can be tough with festivals when people have been drinking in the sun since 2:00 and you're not even going on stage till like 10 or 10:30 or whatever. And then there was a huge delay, and like we ended up going on stage. We were already like 30 minutes later than we should have been. And so I was kind of frustrated because I knew that we had lost some of the audience because people were just tired and like drunk.
Yeah, it happens,
You know, and it was the last night. And so anyway, I was frustrated with that. We finally get on stage. We're getting in the groove. And then, you know, I'm starting to introduce a song, and this guy yells it out. He says, "Show me your tits." And first time I was like, I didn't say anything, just ignored it, kept going. And then he said it again, even louder. And I was like, oh, okay, you want my attention, motherfucker? You just got it. And how many times can I say fuck on this podcast?
Well, however many times you want. We're sponsored by a weed company. You're
okay,
good.
All right. Well, because I think I might have broken a record for most times saying fuck inside of like a, you know, 30-second speech. I just like, I don't know what it was. I just like saw red, because he was like, it wasn't just that he said it. He was like being disruptive. Like he was like kept doing it. You know, he did it more than once. So I was like, all right, I'm like, no, put the lights on the crowd. Who said that? And it's like crickets, you know. And I was like, no, you said it. Like, own up to it, kind of thing. And literally everybody in the crowd just like points at this guy, like totally throws him under the bus. And I looked at him. I was like, you? I was like, get the fuck out. And he starts yelling back at me. I said, no. I said, get the fuck out. I'm like this is not a strip club, you know. I'm like, I did not work my whole life, you know, to get up here and, you know, put my blood, sweat, and tears into this performance and these songs to have it like degraded to show me your tits. You know, I said, I don't even remember what I said, but I just said, I work too damn hard, motherfuckers. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And
Amen. Amen, girl.
And that was and the crowd just like went wild. Thankfully, like they were definitely on my side. You know, they had my back.
Who wouldn't be on your side? And I think so
trust
many.
me.
And I think so many like females will see that too, because a lot of folks deal with that.
Yes.
Like it's not just happening to you.
Well, it was interesting because so after this happened, like, you know, after that happened, we finished the set, and when I came off stage, I actually was like kind of upset. Like it was such a shitty feeling to be up there and like trying to kill it, and then some guy just thinks that's all you're worth. You know what I mean? And so the next day I'm in Nashville, and I wake up, and my buddy Sam Sumser, he's calling me. It's like 9 a.m, and I'm like, shit, like, am I supposed to be at a right now? He's like, dude, you're a badass. I was like, thanks. Like,
so you had no idea that it was like this,
I had
this
no
moment.
idea, that this, like, he's like, no, he's like, your video. I'm like, my music video? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, that video of you like cussing that guy out. He's like, it's like gone viral. It was like on Reddit and blah, blah, blah. I was like, what? And then I start thinking like, oh shit, like, am I going to be in trouble? Like, is the label going to be pissed? Like, because I had just started talking with Riser House and was, you know, going to do a deal with them. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what if, you know, they get really upset? And I remember Jennifer Johnson, who's the head at Riser, she called me. Excuse me, sorry, I keep burping.
You're good.
And she called me, and I was like so nervous. I'm like, is she gonna be upset? And she was like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
She said, you know, that is one of the reasons why I wanted to sign you. That's the Meghan that I love. Like, and I was like, okay, so you're not mad? She said, absolutely not. She's like, we're blowing this up. I'm calling USA Today. Like, I'm doing this. So all of a sudden, I'm like doing all these like interviews and everything around this. And I started, and I made a post about it on my social media, kind of explaining things. And basically what I said was like, I'm not sorry for what I said. Could I have said fuck less? Yeah, probably. But, you know, I didn't have time. I wasn't afforded the luxury of like time to like create this well thought out speech. I honestly said exactly what I was thinking as I was thinking it, and said it with the amount of anger and passion that I was feeling about it. And, you know, within the industry, there was an overwhelming amount of like positive support. And I got a lot of really awesome messages from like other female artists being like, you know, I've had that happen to me and I've never said anything and it always bothered me. And like, you just literally gave me the courage to say something the next time, because, you know, I was worried that people, like, I would get backlash for it and whatever. And so, you know, for a while it was like really positive, and then it got really dark.
Really?
Yeah. I had one of my friends, her mom was like at work, and this woman at her work was like, hey, have you seen this video? Like, isn't your daughter like friends with her or whatever? So somebody that was at the festival had posted it on Facebook, and like in support of me. This was someone that was a fan of mine, and she started going through the comments and sent it to me. And I'm pretty tough. I got a pretty thick skin, but it was absolutely horrible. The things people were saying, just like, oh my God, like, I don't even want to say it. It's like, it was just really, really nasty. And just like, you know, because I expected, you know, some people were mad about the language, like, oh, there might have been children there. And I was like, okay, well, if you bring a child to a music festival and they're still there at like midnight, like, they're gonna see and hear adult things. Also, like, I'm not the fucking Wiggles, okay? I'm not a child entertainer. I'm a grown ass woman who makes music for grown ass people. And like, and also, if you think that a woman using the word fuck to stand up for herself is the most damaging thing your child saw on the internet today, you are delusional. You've got no idea. Like, you think, like, if you have a kid that's on social media, I mean, first of all, I guess they're supposed to be, what, 14 or older? At least. And you think they haven't heard that word before? Yeah. Like, get over yourself. Also, it's not my job to raise your kids. Like, that's your job. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But yeah, that was the tough part. And I had to remind myself that, like, you know, for lack of a better term, these are people from shallow end of the gene pool. Like, these are people that, like, are just get on the internet. They're keyboard warriors, you know, they're trolls. Yep. They're miserable people, like, and you shouldn't care, you know, what they think. But that was like kind of one of my first tastes of like really being like bullied and attacked online. And it was tough. I had to like give myself some boundaries on like going online and like just not looking at it for a while, because it really bothered me.
Yeah, well, I think I speak for everybody in Nashville in our music world when I say like that was the end of the day, end of discussion, badass moment for real.
Thank you.
Like I remember watching that, being like, "You go, Meg." So last year, so that happens 2019. So 2020, we find out about this thing called COVID. World shuts down. You have dual citizen. You have dual citizenship?
Yes, yeah.
So you have dual citizenship, and borders are closing, gigs are ending. What got you through last year? Because last year I'm
Weed
trying
and whiskey.
weed and whiskey. Hey, there.
No, I
I'm
mean-
with you on half of that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was really, really, really tough because I was kind of at this place where, I was kind of really I was like peaking in Canada. I was on my first headlining tour in Canada. Had just been on sold out like Old Dominion Arena tour with Mitchell. I had just signed my US record deal, and like we were getting ready to like go to radio with my first US single. I had all these big festivals lined up. Like I was literally like in this position where, all signs are pointing to like your shit is about to blow up. Like this is going to be your year. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I knew that this like realized like, okay, we're losing shows, like and the light at the end of the tunnel is getting further and further away, and just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I was like, all right, I've got to make the best of this time and just write a bunch of songs. I'm going to focus on my songwriting. I'm going to work at it in a way that I have never done before, because to be honest, like before that, I mean, writing for me was like, I'd be on the road most of the time. I'd come home for like 3 days, go in and write maybe 2 or 3 of those days, and then right back out on the road. So I never had a lot of time to really like work at songwriting. And then the worst part of it was like, after I told myself that this was my plan, it was like I had just like the worst writer's block. Like I was so like, I swear, like I couldn't have written a song to save my life. I had no ideas. I had no inspiration. I was just like, probably partly because I was just really depressed and upset about everything that was going on. So I told myself like, all right, stop beating yourself up over it. Just, this is what you're going to do. Every day for at least 1 hour, you're going to sit down with your guitar and you're going to work on something. Like, you don't have to write a whole song. Like, even if you just sit there and come up with a cool riff or a melody or a little bit of lyrics or whatever it is for at least 1 hour. Like, if after an hour you got nothing, cool, you stop. You tried. If it turns into something else, great. And being more intentional about my creative process really changed something for me. And then after that, I felt like I started writing some of the best songs I'd ever written, because I was really like, I was making it a job. I wasn't just like showing up to the right and like using whatever, I guess, natural ability I have to write a song. I was working at it, and I was, making time to work at it outside of the writing room. So that was kind of what got me through, was just trying to immerse myself in the creative part of things. I wanted to spend more time, playing my guitar, getting better at guitar, and I learned how to use Pro Tools so I could, start
there you go.
doing that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I think there was a lot of positive things that came out of it, but there's still a part of me that feels very bitter about what I feel like was taken away, and the way it's still affecting my career now.
Well, how's 2021 been going?
There's been some good and some bad. I mean, it's, I lost like basically even though we got shows back here in the US, like I only had so many shows for the US, and like I had a lot of stuff that was supposed to be happening in Canada.
Oh yeah.
And like everything just kept getting canceled, and so it sucked because like there were some US things that I had turned down to play in Canada because, one, I needed to, keep up with my audience there, but also like that was my moneymaker. I'm not really where I'm at in the US level right now. It's like I'm just kind of barely breaking even, whereas like in Canada I make good money.
Yeah.
And so I had this whole plan to essentially use the money I was making in Canada to help support and supplement my touring in the US.
Yeah, people don't realize that there's so much that goes into touring and goes into promotion and goes into all that stuff. There's so many expenses.
It takes a while to actually make money.
Yeah,
to actually profit.
It does. Now for Canada, where would you say, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but where's like the best Canadian market? Like where do you know you're gonna go and it's gonna be a crowd that's gonna do the research, sing back the words, they're gonna be rowdy, they're gonna buy the merch? Like,
I mean, obviously I'm from Ontario, so like my biggest fan base is still there, because I've toured there the most. Like Boots and Hearts is a big festival there. That's kind of always been like my favorite because it's kind of like a hometown festival for me, and I know I'm gonna get like my hometown crowd and the people that have kind of been there from the beginning. But also, I mean, there's a lot of great. I mean, Calgary, like the Stampede is always crazy. But then, there's a lot of markets that are in kind of all the in-between, middle of nowhere, like prairie provinces where, it's not the biggest markets and always the biggest crowds, but the quality of the crowd is so good because they don't get as many shows,
so
as
when they come out, they're going to show out.
Yeah,
it means a lot to them
exactly.
that you're coming to their little farm town.
Yeah, they don't get as many shows as some of the other bigger markets get. And so, yeah, like when they do get a show, like that's like the thing and they're coming to party, like they're having a good time. So in some ways, those crowds can sometimes be even more fun than some of the bigger crowds because they're really like into it.
Hell yeah. Now you mentioned Chad Kroeger earlier, and I got my Jordan Rager shirt on, good mutual friend of ours, right. And he's on my side with this. So is our buddy Ben Miller, and I believe McElwain is too. Why do people hate Nickelback? Why do you think that is? Because I love Nickelback.
Dude, I
don't get it.
First of all, I don't know how this like became a thing because I just don't believe that many. Honestly, y'all are lying because the sales would suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
There's no way as many people that say they hate Nickelback, there's no way that it's even true. And I don't even know why. I mean, honestly, I just think when you start doing something right, that's when you get haters. If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. You're not, like I've always said, I would rather be a polarizing artist where like either you love me or you hate me, but at least either way you feel really strongly about me.
You give enough of a fuck to feel one way.
Exactly, to feel some way as opposed to just like feeling nothing and being like who, whatever. So I don't know. I think also just because there was probably like a lot of people that listened to more because they got so popular. It's like in some genres I feel like becoming popular is like a bad thing. It's like, oh, they're sellouts.
Yeah, they're a sellout.
You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think in that genre, that's a thing.
Yeah, and it's funny too. I mean, when you look at it, like, because who their producer is now a very top producer in country music. So it's like people shit on Nickelback, but they're still jamming a lot of the artists that are now being produced by Joey Moy. The same,
or jamming to songs that Chad has written.
Yeah,
I mean, Chad's a great songwriter, and he's written country songs too.
Yeah, so I know he wrote with you. Who else was he?
I'm trying to remember. He had a Tim McGraw cut. A while ago.
I did not know that. That's
Don't
awesome.
quote me on that, but I'm almost positive.
But somebody in that realm, like
but I mean, he loves country music. Like, to be honest, like before I went to go write with him, and when it was brought up to me, I was like, really? I'm like the Nickelback guy, like, and she was like, no, like he's a country boy, like he loves country music. He's a great writer, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? Like, we'll go do it. And like being in the room and writing with him. He really is a fantastic songwriter, and he's really passionate about it. He's really passionate about country music. And then, beyond that, going into the studio with him when we were like picking songs and going over songs, doing that process with him was really enlightening because I realized how he became as successful as he was because, we would sit and we would listen through songs, and then once we picked the songs, we went through all of those songs with like a fine-tooth comb, and he would literally be like, okay, do you think that the melody, the lyrics, all of that is completely on point, or are there any weak spots? Are there any parts that you feel about? Because if you do, we're gonna fix them right now. And he was really hard on me about that, and I'd be like, well, like there was one thing I'd be like, well, no, it's like, this is what I mean when I say this lyric, like it's supposed to be, it's like da 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 da. He said, let me ask you this. He said, when this song comes on the radio, are you going to be sitting in the passenger seat next to the listener, able to explain to them, what you meant by that lyric? He said, no. He's like, so you got to find a way to make it clear, And so I learned a lot from him in that process of like how to be, that's how you go from the difference between a great song and a hit song.
Yeah. For sure. And he's a great guy to learn from, obviously. I mean,
he's done all right.
Yeah, he's done pretty good for himself. She's talking about passionate, something that you're passionate about, and they're looking really good now. And I'm sure there's been years where you the Buffalo Bills. When I think of Buffalo Bills, and for me being a New Yorker, they are the one true team that plays in New York, even though they do play some games over the border in your neck of the woods. Where did your passion for Buffalo Bills football really come from? Because I've seen every Sunday in the football season, like you're
Yeah,
decked out, you're
Jersey,
repping.
yeah, I'm going. My mom is from Buffalo,
Okay.
so yeah, I spent a lot of time in Buffalo growing up with her family, and it was just, I mean, I was kind of born into it. I didn't really have a choice in that house, so.
Yeah. Do you think they could win it this year?
I mean, I think that we can definitely get to the Super Bowl. I do. I think like just the trajectory of this team over the past 3 years has been so steady, like just getting better and better and better and really fast. And I think we've added some new pieces to the team that are really going to like round it out. I mean, I think Sanders is going to be a huge, like, just watching him play the last couple weeks, because some of our other, offense, they're really great, but they're still young. They don't have that same experience. So I think having someone like him that is still very athletic, very dynamic, but has experience, is going to be a big asset. Because I think that is one of our, or has been, one of our downfalls at times is inexperience. Like, and the same with Allen. I mean, he's obviously very talented. He's very athletic. I think he's smart, but I think he lets emotions get the better of him sometimes.
Yeah, he's still young.
He's still young,
yeah.
And so, but I feel like I've watched him learn from those mistakes and really adjust and correct them. And so, I mean, obviously, we've been playing very well the last couple weeks, but granted, I don't think we've really faced a really, really aggressive team yet. So we've got Kansas City. Got the Chiefs next week.
That's a big one.
So I'm kind of reserving my thoughts on this until I see how they play against the Chiefs. Because like I'm sitting here, I'm like, I hope that they don't, they need to go into this game like they haven't been whooping ass for the last 2 weeks. Like they need to go in hungry and not like assume anything.
Yeah, and it's got to be nice going up to New England and not seeing Tom Brady.
Oh
out there,
man,
cause
it's the crazy thing is like. I don't hate him as much anymore.
I don't either.
I kind of like him now.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of.
I have hated Tom Brady like my whole life, and now I'm like, yeah, I like Tom Brady.
Yeah, seeing him and Gronk, and it's amazing. You take him out of New England, out of Foxborough, and because I don't mind rooting for Tom Brady now either, and I'm from New York. Anything Massachusetts, anything Boston, New England, I'm gonna be against.
It was like almost like he got put into like an underdog position all of a sudden, and he. Like he showed us all why he's the GOAT,
Yeah. Yeah. Why he's the best? You a big hockey girl?
Honestly, no. I mean, I like hockey, but I never followed hockey the way I did football. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. I guess I'm like a bad Canadian for that. But I think part of it was that, like the Leafs just sucked for such a long time. And that would have been like kind of my home team. And I was like, okay, I'm already a Bills fan and a Jays fan, and I'm like, I'm not taking on a third shitty team.
Yeah.
So I kind of like was like, I'm not gonna claim any hockey teams. Like I would always watch it, and I love the sport itself. But like also to go see the Leafs, like it was so freaking expensive.
Yeah, they are the top ticket in
it's
Toronto.
Insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're gonna pay that much to go watch them suck, like to watch them lose. Like I could go and see our OHL team, like the Oshawa Generals, for $30 and get a beer for half the price you could get in Toronto, and like they play better hockey than the Leafs. So but then, when I moved to Nashville, Mitchell is a huge Preds fan, and so I decided it made sense for me to be a Preds fan. So
yeah, and you've been in town long enough. Do you remember the chaos that was CMA Fest, Preds Stanley Cup, Bonnaroo, all going on at the same time?
I've been coming to town long enough to remember when they were like nothing, when they like weren't good, and you would go to a game and like it was only half full.
Yeah, and now it's like now they're pretty hard tickets to get, and it's like, and you have the visiting teams that come in. So I used to work on Broadway. I was a door guy at Whiskey Row, so I'd work weekends, and you'd always deal with the visiting fans that would come in for the Preds and for the Titans. And I got to say, the Bills fans were my favorite.
Oh yeah,
like we had Eagles fans, we had Patriots fans, we had Raider fans, we had Colts fans, and they were horrible.
Bills are about to come take over Nashville.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it because the Bills fans, they were always super nice. All they would do is climb up a tree and jump through a table. They tip you on the way out. No fights, no bullshit, no shit talking. They were super cool, easy going, just fun people. I said to get drunk and jump through tables.
It's a good vibe. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I got to see a game at the Ralph and like go to the tailgate and everything, and like I mean, at the time, the football was terrible, but the tailgate was great.
Yes.
So
I thought you were going to say the first time you jumped through a table, and I was like, oh,
you
man.
know, I have to be honest, I never have.
You haven't done that yet?
I actually said last year that if the Bills went to the Super Bowl, I would jump through a table, and so I'll keep that word.
That would be incredible content there.
Yeah, if the Bills go to the Super Bowl, I will jump through.
There's
a
your
table.
viral TikTok moment. What do you think of that, by the way? Because you're somebody who's been around for a long time. What's that been like, social media wise?
I don't know if we have enough time to talk about how I feel about TikTok.
You're good.
Okay, so
because I've heard so many like mixed things, and
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, what me and Matt get to do every weekend is in a way kind of a result, but I don't think of like our Mr. Trey Lewis, as a TikTok guy because he's been doing music like. The TikTok music artist is somebody that I think of that's never played a show, that does the lip syncing of the lyrics, like does all that stuff, which to me kind of drives me a little nuts.
Yes. Well, here's my thing. Like, so my biggest focus and I would say one of my biggest strengths as an artist is my live show.
Yeah.
You know, I pride myself in not just getting up there and singing, but being an entertainer.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
you know,
you do a great job
thank
of, by
you.
the way.
Well, and because I've been doing it for a long time, and it's also the thing I love the most. I mean, some of it, you know, it's equal parts like just passion and like loving what I do, and just hard work, and like really, like I don't just get up and sing. We put thought into putting on a show. And because that was one thing that I would notice is like, especially for females, and this is no slight on any female or anything, but like I would see like some female artists, it's like they looked pretty and they sang great, but they just kind of stood up there and sang. And I was like, well, yeah, it's great that you can sing and that you're pretty, but like this is a boring show. And I was like, and I told myself, like, I don't ever want to be that girl. I need to like be dynamic, be an entertainer, you know? And like, going out like with Kip, like on that first tour, Kip is that guy.
Yes,
he is. He's an entertainer, and so many of my favorite artists are, you know, and also like I've even outside of country, like I'm very influenced by a lot of rock, you know, rock bands and rock musicians that are just like wild, you know. So, sorry, going back to TikTok.
You're good, girl. You're good.
When TikTok came on, like for me personally, I hate social media. Like, I hate that it's a necessary part of my career. Like, if I was not an artist, I probably wouldn't even have it. Like, just because, for a number of reasons. Like, one, I hate the idea of just being glued to my phone and, like, obsessing over likes and views and shit like that all the time. And two, also because I feel like a lot of what you see on there is just so, like, disingenuous and, like, just not authentic. And it's, like,
it's a fake highlight reel.
Yeah, it just, like, feels gross to me, you know? And like, so when the TikTok thing happened, I was like, it was in a time where all we had as artists to stay connected with the fans and keep moving our careers forward was social media, which was tough for me because I hated it to begin with, you know? And then it's like all of a sudden TikTok becomes this thing, like people are getting like massive record deals over, you know, this one viral video, and then all of a sudden labels, it's like, that's all they care about. It's like, if it ain't popping on TikTok, it ain't popping, you know? And I've, you know, had those conversations with a lot of artists in town who feel the same way, that like all of a sudden it's like labels, you know, it comes to singles or picking songs. It's like, well, if it doesn't blow up on TikTok, then it's useless, you know? And that's just crazy. I mean, I think it's a valuable tool, and I think that, you know, it is creating opportunities for some really actually talented real artists to get their break. But I also think there's a lot of things coming off of it that just shouldn't be, you know. And I also don't think that, like, just because something blows up on TikTok, I don't think that necessarily correlates to an actual career. I don't think it necessarily correlates to people buying tickets and coming to your shows, or even buying your records, or even streaming your songs. Because, like, getting a like or a view on TikTok, all that means is that somebody kept your video on their screen for the whole time while they, like, took a shit or watched TV or laid in bed, and they're just like scrolling. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you have created a fan.
And the demographic of TikTok is a much younger demographic.
Like, half of these kids can't even come to my shows because they're not of age.
Yeah,
know?
Like for something that I've noticed out on the road is like the 18 and over thing. A lot of clubs are starting to dip down to that 18 and over as opposed to 21, because they kind of have to. But yeah, I mean, because it's different than what Vine was. Like Vine was a thing, but I don't think it was as entrenched into society. Like I watch a Yankees game, and the Yankees are running TikTok ads. Like they're saying, "Brought to you by TikTok."
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
Well, it's just TikTok. Even outside of the music industry, TikTok just became such a big thing because it was during the pandemic, and people literally had nothing better to do than to like sit on their phones all day. And and this is the other thing too, is that like TikTok is not really like, it's not for music. It's not a music app. It's like a entertainment app. It's like not.
It's
really
a
catered
time
to
killer.
music.
It's instead of reading a book when you're sitting on the can, you're looking at TikTok.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for.
Well, and it's also like a lot of it seems like, and this isn't everybody, but like a lot of it seems like too, in order to get something to blow up on TikTok, you got to have something that you're doing, like some stupid I don't know what's the word, like some kitschy
a gimmick, something like that.
Gimmick, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am 34 years old, and I'm not trying to get up on TikTok in a little crop top and do some stupid dance, just to get people to listen to my music.
You shouldn't have to do that because you got really good music, and people should be going to YouTube or going to Spotify or going to places that are more meant for music.
Well, like when I just like it all of a sudden became like it wasn't good enough anymore in order to be an artist, to just, be able to write songs, play an instrument, sing, and entertain. Like all of a sudden it's like, no, you got to be all that, and you got to be a TikTok star or you don't matter. And it's like, I'm like, I don't think that a lot of my audience, like in my demographic that are going to be lifelong fans, are going to find me through TikTok, or that's not how I win. I win on a stage when I'm actually singing and actually performing. Because when you win somebody over at a live show, like you probably won them over for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting a like or a view on TikTok means nothing. Even if it gets one song to blow up, they're going to move on to the next thing that they find on TikTok after that. It's not creating longevity.
Unless you can keep them with the rest of your catalog and they come out to a show, and that's something that the TL likes to say.
Well, at that point, you have to have the other pieces in place.
Yeah, which is where you do have some folks where it does happen, and
well, and Trey's one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I saw when we played that show together, I really had never seen him play a full set before. And I was like, I told him, I was like, dude, I was impressed. Like, you have a great show.
Yeah.
You have other songs that are great. Like, you're a real artist. Like, you're really going to do this.
Yeah, and that's where it can be used to the advantage is if you've got your shit kind of cooking.
Positive part of it.
If you've got your shit cooking, it's another avenue. If radio's not fucking with you and big and like nobody's really, you don't have booking, anything like that, it can help. But if you're just a kid, like 18, 19, you're just getting a song to blow up on there, but you've never done it before. That's where it kind of rubs me.
I mean, the bottom line for me is that like it's great in that, for situations like someone like Trey, it's just another, avenue, a platform that's going to help, that's going to give somebody a break that needs a break, but it also, it's not even, even regardless of the ones that that are getting record deals and whatever else that I just don't think should.
And what's wild is they're probably those. That's another thing you got to watch out for. I know you're signed and you're with the Riser House and stuff, but people kind of see they're like, oh, record deal, and deals are always a little bit different too. So you have kids signing these deals, and they have no idea what they're getting themselves into.
Most of them are not good deals.
Yeah, their song will blow up, and they own no right to the master. They have to do this,
the label
this, and this.
will make bank off the master, and it won't matter if the artist ever does anything else beyond that, because they'll make their money back and then some. And unless the artist like manages to hold on to that audience and has like a killer single to follow it up,
which is very tough to do.
It's very tough to do, and it's also for me, and then we can get off of it. But like it's also the idea that like I'm not mad at the people that have gotten success or record deals because of it. Like that's great for them. What's frustrating to me is that it has become this thing that has become so all important to the industry that like if you're not blowing up on TikTok, that you're not worth it, or you're not viable, or that like
even if you have a great voice, you write great songs, and you're incredibly entertaining, which is what it's about.
Right. It's like, so what? Because I'm not blowing up on TikTok, you don't want to give me a deal? You know what I mean? It's like that's what's frustrating to me about it is it's become too important. They're putting too much weight and importance on this thing that might pan out or might not.
Yeah, and then the next app will come along, and then we just roll with it and stuff. So what's been going on with you lately as far as music coming out? Like, what's the plan now for the end of this year going into 2022? Which I'd say we're all excited for 2022 because half of this year's still been a clusterfuck carrying over from 2020.
Yes. So we just put Heart on My Glass out back, I guess, end of June. So. For right now, I'm back writing again though. We're just looking to figure out what the single is going to be for the U.S. My stuff in Canada is still rolling. I've got Cool About It is going to radio in Canada is my next single. We just shot a badass music video for it, which I'm super the best video I've ever done. It's gonna be really cool.
Where'd you guys do it? You did it here in Nashville?
We did it here. My director Sean Hagwell, he's done my last 5 or 6 videos. He's awesome. He's super creative, and because for me, when I make music videos, I'm always trying to look to do something a little bit unexpected or bring a storyline, do something almost a little more cinematic. Because who needs another music video of just me glammed up doing a performance, of the song? So this video. I'll say this. It would be like if a James Bond movie and Ocean's 11 had a baby to a country song. That's what this video
sounds like a video I got to watch when it comes out. I'm excited.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
I'm really excited. So, so other than that, I'm just trying to make plans for next year, keep writing, figure out what that single is going to be. And then hopefully, we'll be getting out to radio in the U.S. Beginning of next year. So.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
But man, the wheels turn slow.
Yeah,
as Alan Jackson says.
Yeah, no, it's part of it for sure. Yeah. It's something that it takes some time, but I gotta say I'm excited for you. You got dope ass music. You're gonna go into these new markets. They're gonna get the Meg Patrick show, and if you're not a fan, I don't fuck with you if you don't fuck Meg Patrick. Personally. So so a couple of Nashville questions. Favorite Mexican joint in town. We got a million of them, which I did not expect coming from New York. I did not expect that Nashville would have a shit ton of Mexican food. Or are you not a big Mexican fan?
No, I love Mexican. You know what? There is one that I went to that was in West Nashville, near the Nations the other day that was really good. I can't remember what it was called, though. But Mas Taco is good in East. I mean, honestly, they're all, pretty good. I don't even, trying to think
what's a plate. Well, then if not a specific Mexican joint, what's a joint that's this is my favorite spot?
I mean, Mitchell and I go to Urban Grub a lot because it's by the house. Yeah. It's kind of one of our favorite spots. My friend RJ has a place called St. Stephen's in Germantown, which is awesome. Also, I mean. So I love steak, so any steakhouse.
Any of those steakhouses,
King Prime is really good. Luke Bryan's new place, what's that called?
E3?
E3 is really good.
That place slaps for sure. What's your Red Door? Your I'm drunk on a weeknight because I'm usually out on the road on the weekends. What's your drunk Red Door order? Are you a potato salad girl? You a pizza girl? I know Farron likes them pizzas.
Oh yeah, sometimes I go for the pizza. Sometimes I go for the turkey sandwich with the potato salad because that potato salad is. I don't know what they put in there, but
it's another level.
It's so good.
But Red Door, I have this theory with Red Door too, because again, I don't drink, so it's for me, it doesn't affect me too much. Mm-hmm. But the times, it takes a minute to get yourself a drink and to get food at Red Door, and I feel like part of the reason they do that is because then you just stick around longer, and you get it's like you get trapped in a hole. You can be at Red Door for 6-7 hours, and it just kind of sucks you in.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Midtown has changed so much since I moved here, and it's I mostly only really want to go there more post-right afternoon vibe, and then after it gets dark, it's just sometimes it's too much.
You a lunch at Losers, girl?
Oh yeah, for sure.
See, I've never done lunch at Losers. I've never been there early enough.
Great chicken tendies.
Really? Mm-hmm. Better than Live Oaks?
I don't know if I've ever had them at Live Oak.
You haven't had Live Oak's chicken tendies?
Well, I feel like every time I go there, I'm usually playing around. I don't like to eat right before I sing, so I don't usually eat when I'm there.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
But we'll have to have you come out, and we'll
Okay.
have to get you some chicken tendies and
do
some
it.
of our Delta 8. We'll get you munchies and chicken
Oh,
tendies, a match made in
Speaking
heaven.
my language right now.
Yeah, you know we got you. What's something that you wish you could tell Meg, younger Meg, when she first moved here? You wish you knew when you moved.
It's weird because, like, part of me feels like I wouldn't want to do anything different because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And if there's anything I know, tough lessons learned turn into good songs. So, if I did everything perfectly, maybe I wouldn't have written great songs because of it.
Even just mental psyche, like moving to town and not really knowing anybody.
I mean, I think it's like one of the things that's tough when you first move here, like, one, to just be patient, and like you got to find that fine line between going out and networking and like doing it too much. Like the first year that I was here, like I drank a lot, I went out a lot, and it was a little too much at times. And it's like, go out, but like leave by midnight instead of 3 or
leave by
4.
Leave by midnight's tough.
It is tough, but it's like just learning that, like, yes, it's important that you go out and you network, but you got to like set some boundaries for yourself too, because also being out when you get super drunk is not a good thing for you either. When you're around, like, that's the other thing too, like wherever you are, there's a really good chance that half or more of the people in that bar work in the industry in some capacity. So don't act a fool, because like people are watching, and it's a small town. It is small industry. People talk. But I mean, I don't know. I think the other thing I would say too is, like, when you get here, it's really overwhelming and intimidating, because all of a sudden you are surrounded by some of the most talented people you've ever met, and really successful people, and like you want that, obviously. And it can get easy to like get caught up trying to chase things that aren't for you, like trying to chase a sound or a song or whatever because it worked for somebody else, when the only thing you should be chasing is who you are, and how to do something that only you can do. Because all of the best, most successful artists that like become like icons, like there's nobody else that does what they do, like an Eric Church or whatever. Like you got to find your own thing and not get distracted by what everybody else is doing,
Amen. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for authenticity. And when I think of authentic people in Nashville, I think of yourself. I think of the rest of the bad bitches. And there's this wave of authenticity coming through right now that's really, really awesome. So, Meg, thanks so much for joining us and hopping on all the socials. It's what, Meg Patrick at pretty much everything?
Yeah, Meg Patrick Music for Instagram and Twitter. And then Facebook, it's just my full name. Megan with an H, Meghan.
Megan with an H. There you go.
People always forget the H.
Awesome.
So.
And make sure you guys check out her stuff on Spotify and Apple Music. Well, you guys, thanks for listening to another edition of the In the Round podcast. Big shout out to Meg Patrick for joining us today. Remember to check out the sponsors, Whaletail Media, Saxman Studios, and of course our friends in the green world at Trailside CBD Emporium, that tasty, legal Delta 8 THC. Use promo code ITR at checkout. Save yourself 20% off. We'll see you all next time. This has been the In the Round podcast.